the Minnesota Vikings have won yet another game, moving to 4-0 on the season, undefeated through 1 month of football. An undefeated September is a good September. Also 3-0 as underdogs, which I think is potent. And we are back on this Tuesday when this comes out. We're doing this on a Monday night, as always. But we're doing grades from the couch, ladies and gentlemen. This is, of course, the show where I, Jordan Hawthorne, give my brother Josh Hawthorne 6 players, 3 from each side of the ball, and he assigns them letter grades A+ through F-. And spoiler, I have a weird feeling it's going to be another positive night because the Vikings just keep winning. So we'll see what Josh has cooked up for us. Once again, it is important to point out, neither one of us are professionals at anything that we do. I've been doing a very small podcast on this YouTube channel. Check that out. For a few years now, since 2018. And Josh watches games and has strong opinions about them, but does not feel strong enough to be like, you know what I should do? Start a podcast that nobody listens to. So, yeah, let's jump into it. Which side of the ball you want to start on this week, bub?
Let's start offense. Go offense.
Offense? First. Absolutely. All right, so starting on the offense, we'll start in the backfield. A little bit of a redemption for you because there has been pushback on your week 1 Aaron Jones grade.
I've seen.
Yeah, well, seems like there's like an Intel load the box rivalry happening between.
Listen, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, I agreed with Will. You shafted Jones in week 1. Jones in this game had like 95 rushing yards. He had like 128 all-purpose yards, I believe. Did not find the end zone though, which was like the whole shebang that everybody was building up was, oh, what's the Lambeau Leap going to be like? What's the Lambeau Leap? He didn't really get to do the Lambeau Leap. So, what do you give Aaron Jones, A to B? Oh, A to B. Those are your choices. A to F.
You know, in spite of some, I'd really love to give him like a B- game. But I'm going to give him a B game. He didn't fumble. He didn't score. Now, albeit Addison stole one of his touchdowns on that little end around. Where'd you go? Hello. Where'd you go? Are you here? Hello? Okay, we're back. Anyways, Addison kind of stole one of the goal line touches from him. He had a chance to score, got stuffed up the middle. I think the Packers took it upon themselves to say he is not getting in the end zone this game. It seemed very, anytime they were within the five-yard line, they clogged the middle and they really didn't take a chance to, extend him out. They had one little pitch player on the outside. It was the close side from the camera on the TV, but it's almost like Matt LaFleur looked at the defense and they took it personal, and they were not going to let Aaron Jones in the end zone. So, but I give him a B game. He didn't fumble. He didn't crack 100. He had 22 touches for 93, 4.2 yards on average, longest of 17. Like, he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do, but it didn't floor me by any means. So I give him a B.
So you're telling me 22 for 93, ripping off 4 yards every time he got the ball, and also adding in 46 receiving yards at almost 12 yards a pop. That doesn't get you to B+, A- territory?
Well, when you have Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson drawing double, triple teams sometimes, the checkdown's there. It's not like he made some insane juke or hurdle or, he had plenty of field to work with. And, and the script changed in the second half because they were up 28-7. The script changed in the second half. You could clearly see that as a spectator, both offensive and defensive. And look, you were proficient in high school, right? Would you consider yourself a smart kid when you were in school?
Yeah.
Okay. How many A+ did you come home with?
Buddy, you don't want to do this. 7.
A lot. All the way through your high school career, you came home on your report card with A+ on your report card?
Not all the time, but I don't know. If I had 130 combined all-purpose yards against my FOMO team, that feels like an A type of day.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
Are you eating nuts?
No,
What are you eating?
sweet tarts.
Swear- Oh man, I had some of those like the blue sour punch straws the other day. They were so good, dude. Yeah,
The
I
OG
love.
ones.
Yeah, those are the best in the box and everything. But all right, staying on this side of the ball, Jordan Addison, for the first time since week 1, returns to the offense. Immediately has his impact felt. Second on the team in receiving yards. He had 3 catches for 72 yards, a touchdown, and a 7-yard rushing touchdown as well. So a 2-touchdown day in his return. What grade do you give Addison in his big comeback game?
I'm gonna give him an A. I'm gonna give Addison an A in this performance. Addison's always gonna have a special place in my heart just because last year in his rookie season I drafted him like 3 picks ahead of you, and he took me to the championship game.
He did.
While you sat and watched from the sidelines. But I think it was an A game. His ankle didn't really look to hamper him. It looked like it. I don't know if he was 100%, but he was certainly, I think, 85 to 90. You double Jefferson, Addison's gonna have single coverage. You double Addison, Jefferson's got single coverage. Like, it's the 2-headed monster, and God help defenses once Hawkinson comes back. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that offense is humming right now. Again, don't take too much stock into the second half of that game. The Vikings, like, you could clearly see they let off the gas. I wish they didn't. They let off the gas until the very last drive when they went down to get a field goal to make it 2 scores, and they marched right down the field again when they started throwing the ball. So I give Addison an A in this performance, though.
All right, absolutely. And this one I threw in here just that way we could try to start getting on the bottom rungs of the grading scale, if you will, because like it would have been easy to be like, let's talk about, I don't know. Let's talk about Josh Oliver, really good blocking tight end who caught a touchdown. Let's talk about Sammy Hammy who threw for 275, 3 tuds. Like, it would have been easy to throw one of those out there. We're going to talk about Jalen Nailor, who definitely saw his role reduced as Addison made his big comeback. So, what do you think of Jalen Nailor's performance?
He wasn't open, if as the 3, you have them moving coverage on Jefferson, and then you have the single coverage on Addison, which also means Nailor has single coverage. I don't really know how much he needed to do. I don't think, how many targets did he even have in the game? He had 1 reception for 31 yards on 2 targets. So, like, they weren't even looking his way. Like, I give him a C. Like, it's a passing, you know what I mean? Like, it's a passing grade. He didn't go out there and drop 6 balls. Like, he didn't fail at his job. But he didn't really do anything. He just kind of showed up, collected a paycheck, and ran a couple routes. Actually, you know what? I take that back. He's the one that muffed the punt, isn't he?
He's the one that muffed the punt.
He gets a D- because he did. I was like, hang on a second. For a second, I thought that was Brandon Powell, but then I was like, no, that was Nailor being a dummy, waving for the fair catch. And then, hey, I don't have any sunglasses on or any shades or anything to block the big glowing star in the sky that's super bright. Let me try and overhand catch this like a superhero. When I called for fair catch, I could have just got out of the way and let the ball bounce and taken the ball to halftime. A dumb, boneheaded play that resulted in a touchdown, the only touchdown for the Packers in the first half. So, D-. He's not going to fail. He's not going to get an F because, he cost us a touchdown, but D-.
I think his lack of usage was directly tied to that debacle at the end of the first half, because if you look at the swing that call, the Vikings were getting the ball with like a minute plus, and O'Connell's been pretty aggressive at the end of halves. So I think the plan was get the ball, go down and get 3 at least, take a 31-0 lead into halftime, ride that out, try to get Aaron Jones' touchdown, whatever. And instead, you let Green Bay score, and then Donald threw the pick. That kind of let him. We just kind of started opening the door for them or whatever. And it felt like, yeah, guys, you can't really do that. I mean, I get you could because you had a 28-point lead, but, God forbid that happens when you're up 6. and now you're losing because of that. Because that's a big swing that happens right there. So yeah, I agree with you, man. D minus. I would have been okay if you gave him an F.
I don't think he was back there on the next punt, was he?
No, so Powell is typically the punt guy, but O'Connell said after the game that Powell was dealing with some
he got
kind
banged up earlier.
Yeah, it was like I can't remember what it was he was dealing with. I don't know if I can't remember what the actual injury was.
I thought he had a concussion because I was screaming on the couch saying that was targeting, and then once I saw the replay of it, I was like, "Oh, that wasn't even close."
No, it looked like he took like a knee to the gut almost.
Yeah,
and so I thought it was like maybe something with the ribs. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember. No, did I look up or will I look up what it was? But because of that, Naylor was back there, and you just got to let it bounce, and that's part of that. O'Connell kind of preached it a couple years ago about situational mastery, and he's got to get his guys locked back in. So overall, what grade do you give to the offense? Let's include Will Reichard in the offense because he puts points up, so we'll include special teams to Naylor's play also. What grade do you give to the Vikings offense in this one?
I would really love to give the Vikings an A just because you go out and put 28 up in the first half. But then you come out in the second half and you shell up and just run, pass, punt. You have a silly interception. We talked about this earlier. It wasn't a pick. He was bobbling the ball, but Darnold should have threw one earlier in the game. So whatever, he had a pick. Overall, I'm going to give the offense a B. The first half, A+. I mean, they went right up and down the field on the Packers, and Green Bay couldn't stop us. I mean, you got Addison on the little post route just wide open in the end zone. Jefferson makes an absurd Harry Houdini, pulled a rabbit out of his hat.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Catch. I was like, did he just one-hand that? And then they showed the slow-mo, and the ball hits right off his chest, and he pins it with his right arm. I was like, how did Darnold even get the ball in there? The offense looked unstoppable in the first half. And then the second half, they come out, and I'm like, okay, 28-7, they're still going to attack, and they stopped attacking. They just let Green Bay slowly but surely work their way back into the game, into the fourth quarter. Even going into the fourth quarter, it was 24 or
it was 28-7. Yeah, nothing happened in the third quarter.
It reminded me of the Alabama-Georgia game the night before.
Yeah.
Alabama was full control, Minnesota's in full control, and then all of a sudden Alabama's offense just stopped doing what they were doing the first 3 quarters or 2 quarters, and Georgia got right back in the game. So, and then it came down to a onside kick attempt that, but it shouldn't have even been to that point. Jordan Love shouldn't have even been in the game in the fourth quarter. They should have put their foot on their throat and finished it off. That's why it's not an A or an A+ for me.
And what sucks about it too is that you look at some of the drives the Vikings had. The Vikings had drives that went in, onto the plus side of the 50, but Darnold had the pick that wasn't a pick. Which who knows what becomes of that drive.
That wasn't a pick? Can we agree?
It wasn't a pick. Okay. For the sake of talking Sam Darnold's stats, I will maintain it's a pick because he should have thrown one on the first drive of the game. But for the sake of the flow of the game, that's Malauki. That wasn't an interception. The commentator said it wasn't. They cut to commercial, and Josh wasn't at our mom and dad's house yesterday to watch the game. But me and my dad looked at each other, and we were like, we were high-fiving. We were like, it's not a pick. Easy call. They'll go to commercial. They'll play 2-3 commercials, and then they'll come back, and they won't even show the referee saying the ruling on the field is overturned. They'll just say yeah, that was obviously overturned. And then they come back and the ref is like, yeah, stands. That's a pick, boys. And we were like, what? And then, Gene Pereira, whatever his name is, came on and he was like, yeah, no, that's not an interception.
Mike Pereira. Uncultured swine. Gene Pereira.
Gene Sterato. Gene Pereira is the ultimate rules analysis. But whoever comes on and says that's clearly not a pick, and but yeah, I mean that would have turned into points. Who knows what would have happened, because then it would have been third down after that. Worst case, you're kicking a field goal. They had the field goal drive when they needed it, and then I'm going to say I would have went with a C+, because when they needed, when Green Bay said, you know what, it's a 6-point game, and if we get the ball back, we're going down, we're winning the game. They went for 2. They said, we were down 28, you've let us back in, F you guys, we're going for the throat. the Vikings responded and said, "Okay, we'll go kick a field goal and kind of put the nail in
You
you."
said you would give him a C plus,
Yeah,
so you would give him a lesser grade than I gave him.
I thought you gave him a C.
I gave him a B.
Oh, B plus then. Like they get a little bit of a bump because they did whenever it was like, oh crap, guys, we have to be good at football again. They went out and they got 3 points, and I think O'Connell was probably in Donald's headset saying, "Hey, Sam, don't. You know what you're thinking. Don't do it. Just go out there. Well, in field goal range, get points.
No,
Shut it down."
What's crazy? I read an article on ESPN, and it was like most shocking surprise of the day or something. What I don't remember what the headline said. So I read it, and it was like, does Kevin O'Connell trust Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
And the answer was absolutely yes. And the reason it's absolutely yes is because after his fumble that he had, where it was like a strip sack fumble, whatever,
He got blindsided.
he got blindsided, ball comes out, Green Bay recovers, they get the short field, and they go down. Minnesota needs to put a drive together. You're up by 6. You need to put a drive together and go down the field. Do you know what they did? They came out and they threw the ball.
Yeah.
Threw the ball 3 straight plays, went right down the field. They had that little crosser to Jefferson, and he gets 20 yards off the play or whatever it was. And it was like, oh, okay, well, Vikings are in field goal range. Let's milk the clock, baby. Like, just run her down.
Yep.
Tick, 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 tick. So he trusts Sam Darnold. It's great to see that O'Connell can trust Sam Darnold like that, especially after watching last year with Kirk once he went down. You could tell O'Connell didn't trust Dobbs or Mullins nearly as much as he does Darnold. So that's fun to see. So
No, it's definitely a good thing to see. So let's move to the other side of the ball. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball, and we'll do this one in reverse order. So we will do the overall defensive grade on the day. You know, obviously, really good 45 minutes of football from the defense, giving up 7 points, and a lot of that was the special teams. And then the fourth quarter, holy crap, here comes Jordan Love just balling out, apparently. So I'm interested to see how that affects the grade here.
do you know, before we go into this, do you know how many sacks the Vikings had yesterday?
It was just one, wasn't it?
It was just 1. It felt like it was a lot more, though. Like, they were living around Jordan Love's ankles, like, and his knees. And for somebody that was wearing a giant knee brace, dealing with a strained PCMC, QCL, whatever, TCL, whatever it is, it was a little terrifying. Like, I'm obviously not a Packers fan. I hate the Packers, but like, I almost felt bad for the guy, especially in the first half. Like, you could tell that knee was hurting. But overall, I hate like doing split halves. Like, in the first half, the defense was locked down. Green Bay couldn't do anything. And then the second half, they just played a cover 2 shell and let Jordan Love pick you apart. And what he ended up finishing with passing yards. I know he had 4 tutties. What do you have passing?
He had like 389.
389 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. What were 2 of the interceptions in the first half?
No, I don't remember exactly when they came.
I know they had the one on Watson where I thought he broke his leg in half, but they had the interception on Watson where like the guy was going down and like
that was the
underneath
Gouget Hill. That's what got him. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And then he had the one that he just kind of YOLO ball because that was the thing.
In the second half though.
Yeah, that one was definitely in the second half. What was the third one? Because there was the one oh it was the one. There were 2 in the first half because it was the one where he threw it. And his tight end jumped up and tipped it, and it right into Shaq's hands.
It hit off of. I thought it hit off of 2 people. I thought it hit off of our linebacker, and then it hit off the wide receiver, like trying to stick his hand out to catch it. And when he stuck his hand out to catch it, it literally popped it right into.
Shaq Griffin.
Who was it? Thank you, Shaq Griffin. It literally fell right in his gut, and he was just like, "Oh, hello." So. Yeah, overall, I'm gonna give the defense a B. I'm gonna give the defense a B plus. They played very well in the first half, very very well. And then Flores clearly said, "Look, you want to take these little 5-10 yard checkdowns and march down the field? Sure, that clock's still ticking, and you're down 3 scores. So go ahead." When it came down to it, and the Vikings needed a stop, the Vikings Murphy got a pick. You know, Love just YOLO balled that up there,
Yeah, it was pretty
and
crazy.
I was like, what is he? What is he doing? Why is he chucking? Oh, that's a pick. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna give him a B plus because I think the majority of those Love passing yards and the points that they got, one was off of a short field fumble by the offense. You can't really hold that against the defense. And the rest of those yards for Love, you're down by 3 scores. You have to throw the ball. You can't really run too often.
Yeah.
So as bad as that 22-point fourth quarter looks, I don't really blame it all on the defense. I still think Flores' scheme made Jordan Love a little scatterbrained back there in the
Yeah.
pocket. So
Yeah, and they also did. They forced they forced that fumble, which was that was when the game was starting to get tight. Green Bay got the ball back. I think they were down 14 at this point, and they get the ball, throw it to the tight end. The tight end tries to do that, like, oh, I'm gonna walk the tightrope, stay in bounds, and
extend it.
well, he didn't even extend it. He just was rumbling, and it was
he was like tucked, wasn't he?
yeah,
Like,
and then
and then
I can't. I think it was Byron Murphy again who
Yeah.
just pulled his fist back and just bang, just punched it, and just pure contact with the ball. Ball's on the ground. I don't remember who dove on it and grabbed it for the recovery. It doesn't necessarily matter. All that matters is that it was another turnover. The Vikings win the turnover battle and remain undefeated when they do that under Kevin O'Connell. So let's get into the specific guys. We'll go a little quickly here because we're going a little bit long tonight. But we'll start, let's see. We'll start on the line pass rusher guy. We'll go with, for the first time since week 1, I believe, Andrew Van Ginkel, who had a couple of pressures in this one. But I don't necessarily know that he had any sacks or anything like that. Yeah, no sacks, no turnovers.
No sacks, no turnovers, no tackle for loss, 4 solo tackles. Those were all his tackles. I give him a B. He did his job. You didn't hear his name getting burnt, getting torched. He did his job. He showed up, did everything that was asked of him. I give him a B for the game. Didn't really, like you said, cause a turnover. But I give him a B. It was a solid game.
He had some pressures, which I definitely remember seeing him running Love down, and he might have had a hand. There was one play where 3 Vikings grabbed Jordan Love, and somehow he stayed up and threw the ball away, which was pretty nutty. But I think Ginkel might have had his hand in on that. But he definitely, he was like you said, he was one of the guys living at the knees of Jordan Love. So moving back one spot, we'll go back to a linebacker, to Gouge Hill, whose first name I've already forgotten because I'm bad at this show. Kamu Gouge Hill. What did you think of old Kamu and his interception? 2 games, 2 picks.
I'm going to give him a B+. You know what? No, I'm going to give him an A. He filled in for Ivan Pace, stepped up because Ivan Pace was out. I don't even know what's wrong with Pace.
It's like a ankle, I think. I think he rolled his ankle in practice.
The ankle word. A good game. I mean, you didn't hear his name called. Anytime I don't hear somebody's name called on defense, it's usually a good sign. Because if your name's getting called, one of 2 things are happening. You're getting torched or you're lighting up the quarterback. And, to come away with a pick, he was the one that got the pick on Watson, right?
Yeah,
on the Watson throw.
It looked like Watson's leg was going to.
It was a hell of a catch too, like a hell of a pick. I mean, to see the ball there and to go down and get it. And I don't know what the extent of Watson's injury is, but that's a big loss for Green Bay. He's one of their. I know that they have 4 1A receivers, but no, I give Grugier Hill an A for his performance yesterday.
Yeah, and it looks like the injury is an ankle injury, but it looks like he's not serious.
I think he hobbled off, didn't he?
Well, he hobbled off, but then he got touted to
the locker
room, which I think is what happened with Rashee Rice. He got up and hobbled off, but then they touted him to the locker room, and he looked devastated. And so that when you see somebody's leg bend like that, you usually assume ooh, is that going to be ligament? Is that going to be season ending? That kind of thing. And I mean, no, it's not like the Vikings were out there taking people's knees. We don't have Kobe Joseph on the team. We just, it was just a football bang bang play. His leg got trapped underneath a guy. Really good play by Goujet Hill. But it does look like Watson will play again. So like this season. So it's he's gonna miss
Who
this
knows?
Sunday. But
Who knows? Kansas City might try and trade for him.
it would not shock me if Kansas City called Green Bay to try and get one of those receivers. That's actually kind of a decent topic. But all right, moving to the secondary, mandatory secondary guy. We're going to talk about Shaq Griffin. Got his first interception on the season. He's been shockingly efficient this season. He's had a couple down years, but he's starting to look like that prime Seattle Shaq Griffin. Guys aren't throwing at him a lot. When they do throw at him, he's got a pretty decent rate or what completion percentage when targeted. He had the pick in this game, which was kind of off of a funky, tip 2-3 times, and then he came down with it. A good return on the after the pick. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, what grade do you give to Shaq Griffin?
I'm gonna give him an A. Got a pick, like you said. Good concentration to keep your eye on the ball there after getting deflected a couple times. Great return. Would have loved if he would have taken it, to the 1. So Aaron Jones could have got his Lambeau leap. But, again, like you said, they're not throwing at him. You're not hearing his name a lot in bad scenarios. So I give him a solid A for his performance.
All right, that's beautiful. Let's do one thing. I'm going to put you on the spot here. We're going to do this every 4 weeks, all right? So when the Vikings are 8-0 or 4-4, whatever they end up being after 4 more weeks, we'll do this again. But month, right? It sucks the NFL extended the season to 17 games because it used to be, you could evenly distribute it into quarters. You can't anymore, but we'll still just do it 4, and then we'll do one. But first month of the season, out of the way. The Vikings have started 4-0. I want you to give offensive and defensive grades to, just the sides of the ball for the first month of the season. We'll start on the defense. We'll stay on that side of the ball. What do you give the defense after seeing them play a full month of football? Of course, they blew the Giants out. They beat the Bucs off San Francisco and only won by 6. They blew Houston out, and they beat the Bucs off of Green Bay and only won by 2. What grade do you give this defense and Flo and all these guys?
I really wish they didn't give up. I really wish they didn't give up that many points in the Green Bay game because it makes it look a lot worse. Because that game should have been a 2 to 3 score game as well. You hold the Giants to 6 points. You hold the 49ers to 17 points. Again, another bullshit touchdown. Sorry, bullcrap touchdown. So you're at 23, 30. You've given up 59 points in 4 games. For comparison, Green Bay's given up 89 points. Chicago's given up 75 points. Detroit plays tonight. I have a feeling they're going to give up more than a touchdown. I give the defense an A+ for the defense.
There it is.
The Giants, meh. They kind of moved the ball. They're starting to click with Malik Neighbors a little bit. The 49ers are supposed to be a powerhouse. The Texans are supposed to be an offensive powerhouse. And the Packers are supposed to be an offensive powerhouse. The Packers game wasn't close. Yes, they scored 29. You hold the Texans to 7 and the 49ers to 10 with their extra time touchdown, whatever. I give the defense an A+. I mean, Flores looks... Everybody was saying, Green Bay's seen Flores' defense twice last year. They're going to be ready for it. They weren't ready for it in the first half. They certainly were not. And then it took us finally going to cover 2 shell before Love started actually moving the ball up and down the field. I give them an A+.
All right, let's flip it.
What say you?
It's an A+. I think it's an easy A+. The way that they have played in these games, the amount of turnovers they've generated, it's an easy A+ for me. I'm not going to fight you on that. Let's move to the offensive side of the ball and include a month grade for old Sammy Hammy because he's obviously, that's the most important position on the team is the QB. So include a grade for him in here, but offense overall, where are you leaning for the first month?
It's an A+. It's... I hate to be generic. I would love to be, our offense is struggling. The Vikings have scored. Where'd it go? Hang on. I just had the stat here. The Vikings have scored 116 points in 4 games.
pretty good.
116 points in 4 games against a Texans defense that's supposed to be pretty good. The Packers defense, they didn't have Jair, whatever.
Well, they fell. They're +7 on the turnovers this season.
They're
So
+7 on turnovers. You scored 23 against the Niners. They weren't missing a bunch of people. They had Fred Warner, and then you put 28 up against the Giants. I watched the Thursday night game. The Cowboys struggled to move the ball at times against that Giants defense. So it's an A+ for me. Sam Darnold, he's playing an MVP caliber level right now. If he's not the favorite, he should be favorite for MVP and comeback player of the year. He leads the league in passing touchdowns, and that's not including half the season so far. He didn't have Jordan Addison as number 2 wide receiver, and he's still out there just throwing dimes. Yeah, it's an A+ across the board. Offense, defense, and quarterback play. Everybody, let's just stay healthy.
Yeah.
Let's stay
Yeah.
healthy. When we have this conversation again in a month, we're only going to have 3 games played because we have our bye after next week after the Jets. But these next 3 games are going to be tough. You've got the Jets in London. Who knows what Jets team's going to show up? You have your home game against the Lions. That's going to be a tough game because those are probably right now the 2 favorites in the division. And then you got a road game in LA against the Rams. Who knows if Cooper Kupp's back? Who knows if Puka's back? They may start getting healthy. We'll see, but it's gonna be a tough three game stretch coming up for the Vikes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. By the way, A+. I would give Sam like a B+ to an A-, somewhere in that range, just because he's had some turnovers, man. But
I don't care if he has turnovers. He's a gunslinger, Jordan. He's out there throwing You can't throw for how many touchdowns did he have? Like not 9.
He has 11.
He
has 11.
He has 11. You can't throw for 11 touchdowns and not have a pick or 2. Like, come on. And when the refs are shafting you and the guy's bobbling the ball on the sideline going out of bounds and they still call it a pick, like, no.
Well, he also Green Bay dropped the pick.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
No, I am saying what I'm saying. Look, these are his projections. I did the math today. These are the projections for a 17-game season. He's on pace for 3961 passing yards. He's averaging 233 a game. That's not a projection. That's just what he's done. He's on pace for like 36.5 touchdowns. And then he's also on pace to have like, I think it's like almost 13, 15, somewhere in there in terms of like picks and fumbles. So like just turnovers. But no, that's why I say like A-, I think is where I would settle. He's got a 118
15 picks, by the way. I need to know this math. Because
So
we
he has-
played a third of the season, almost a third of the season. Okay?
No, a fourth of the season.
A fourth of the season, sorry.
So
We played
he
almost
has
a fourth of the season.
He has 3. This is
Okay.
my math. I said picks and fumbles, so he has 3 interceptions. So multiply that
Okay.
by 4. That gives you 12.
Okay.
And then he has 1 lost fumble, I believe. So
Okay.
multiply that by 4. You would get to 16 actually.
Okay,
But
so turnovers. You're not talking just picks.
no. Picks and
Okay.
fumbles. Like, yeah.
So is it his fault that he got blindsided and fumbled the ball?
Well, no, but I mean, he's also let's talk about was it the Giants or was it the San Francisco game where he missed a handoff and he went exactly like this, and just
that a forward pass?
threw it.
Is that a forward pass?
No, it was backwards, buddy. It was. I mean, look, and I agree with you. Donald's a gunslinger. I don't think we've had A- quarterback play for a season-long basis in a long time in Minnesota. So I'm interested to see if Donald keeps it up. And if he does, we're going to have a really fun season because this was the hard part of the schedule, ladies and gentlemen. This was the part that we were supposed to like rally back from and maybe get hot in the middle towards the end to make the playoffs. It wasn't supposed to be undefeated through the first month. So, no, look, I say A+ for the offense overall, A- to Donald. Maybe some of the reason it's an A- is because he was missing Addison. Who knows? The offense is getting Addison's
Still
healthy.
doesn't have Hawkinson.
And he's still waiting on on one of the best tight ends in the NFL. With the way Kelsey's played this year, probably the best tight end in the NFL. I'm maybe second. I'm trying to think of who would be better than him, but I'm struggling to find
Laporta,
somebody.
but he's having a down year and he's injured.
Yeah.
I know we're about to close this up. Do you know who the second leading receiver is for the Vikings this year?
The second leading receiver. Is it?
Jefferson's one. Like, let's not play
Yeah,
stupid. We all know that.
I'm gonna guess it's Aaron Jones.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. 16 receptions. Jets has 20
that's crazy. Is he second in yards as well, or is it just receptions?
in yards.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, he's at 143 and Jefferson's at
Yeah,
358.
he
So
brings a facet to this offense that we haven't seen in a long time. Because I loved Dalvin. Dalvin was a great running back, but I don't think Dalvin could catch the ball like Jones can.
yards after
Dalvin,
catch, Jefferson and Aaron Jones, who leads?
I mean, I would guess Jones because of the screen game.
It is
Yeah.
162 to 129.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, and you got to think, I mean, a lot of Jefferson's stuff is like out breaking sideline stuff, but Jones should be shifty. Oh, he's a running back. So, no, Jones has been great. And, I'm sure we'll have a discussion on this show, on the other show as the year goes on about, oh, are we going to re sign Sam? Are we going to bring him back? Is he the QB for the rest of our lives? And, he is younger than Joe Burrow, and I think we can win a Super Bowl this season. I'm all in on that. I didn't put the sunglasses on, but. Yeah, man, it's going to be a good one. So this was Grades from the Couch. Josh, I'll pass it off to you to give like a little final thought in just 1 second. Make sure you check out the main show game recap tomorrow, Wednesday. Every Wednesday that goes up at 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Central. And then on Thursdays, me and Will do the game previews and talk about our next opponent. This week, of course, we'll talk about the Jets in London for the London game, which every time the Vikings have a good season, we play in London. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like we played in London in 17, we played in London in 22. I think we play. I don't know that we did in 19, but 19 wasn't that special. But this year is special. So, Josh, what are your final thoughts? I'll let you get anything off your chest.
Not much to get off my. I've got pretty much everything off my chest besides this sinus drainage that I've got coming down.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see next week. We get to see Jets against Sauce Gardner, local guy here. So that'll be a fun matchup. I don't know that Sauce has ever faced anybody like Justin Jefferson, but it'll be a fun matchup. Jets have got a pretty good defense, so as sleepy as I'm going to be waking up at 9 o'clock to watch the football game, I'm excited to see that game. And then we get the bye afterwards, and then Detroit. So, if we can go 2-1 over the next three, I want to be realistic. I don't think this team's going undefeated all year. At some point, they're going to take an L.
What a hot take.
Look, I'm here to bring. I'm just being real. Okay, we don't beat around the bush over here. If they can go 2-1 over these next three games, 2 games technically we're the home team in the Jets game. And then at the Rams, is that a Thursday night game?
Yeah, I think. Well, are we at Detroit and then at home against the Rams?
It's home against Detroit and then at the Rams. So it's Jets by day before my birthday, home against the Lions, and then that Thursday, the 24th, we go to LA to play the Rams.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game. It's gonna be. I mean, look, this is also a tough stretch.
That's a tough 3 games. Thankfully, we got the bye after the London trip. The Jets weren't fortunate enough to get the bye after the London trip. They have to come home and play. But if we can go 2-1 over the next 3, I'm gonna be happy. I think that's sitting at 6-1. With the I don't want to call any game in the NFL a cupcake, but the schedule is significantly easier.
The Jags, Colts, Titans are starting to look cupcake-ish.
Those games are looking, and then you've got the Bears in there after the Titans, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears, the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Lions. Like
the NFL might have to flex that Atlanta game. That Atlanta game might have to be a Sunday night football game.
They may flex that to either the Fox game of the week or a Sunday night game, but. Regardless, 2-1 over the next 3. I'm a happy camper. Excited to see what this team can keep doing. Everybody stay healthy. Keep doing what we've been doing through the first 4, and this team can go pretty far. So.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, thank you as always. We'll talk next week after the London game. I'll have to watch the condensed replay because I'll be putting a roof on a house next weekend, so I probably won't get to watch the Vikings game. I'll probably just have it on, but then I'll watch the condensed replay.
I'll call you in.
Please don't.
I'll be here.
All right. Well, I've been Jelton. He's been Josh. This was Grades from the Couch. Very optimistic as always. We're going to lose a game someday. We're going to come on here. We're going to tear this team to shreds. I promise you. Something big just happened. We're going to end the show before we talk about it. Skol, y'all.